kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
So anybody who's worked in retail or hospitality knows how easy it is to become friends with the most unlikely of people. And this is one of those stories. Here's Scent of a Woman.
Hooah! All right, let's get to work.
So we meet Charlie Sims, a kid going to a super fancy private school on scholarship because he's poor as shit, and the rich assholes won't let him forget it.
No, seriously, who did he have to blow to get that thing?
But he can't afford to go home for Thanksgiving because of being poor, so he answers an ad to take care of some old blind dude.
You patronizing me, Pee-wee?
When Charlie meets Lieutenant Colonel Frank Slade, it does not go well, and he immediately screws up the first thing his niece told him not to do.
Don't sir him.
Sir? Sir. Yes, sir, sir.
Uh-oh, we got a moron here.
But it also doesn't help that the guy's a complete asshole. And because of this, Charlie doesn't want to spend the weekend with him. So he goes to the niece and tells her that he bombed the interview. So she tells him to come upstairs, and he gets there just in time for her to show him her son's penis.
I don't want to see that or think of it again.
Don't kink shame.
No, this is definitely the time when you kink shame. But in this case, it is not a kink, but a weird parenting thing where they forget that randos are not used to seeing kids naked when they turn around.
That's not exactly the mental picture I need to make my day better.
Well, that and some parents are weirdly obsessed about their kids' routine.
That's usually bath time. Well, we'll talk in between shampoos.
Anyway, she tells him that he's the only one who called about the job and demands that he agree to spend the weekend with her asshole uncle so she can go to her in-laws' shitty family Thanksgiving out of state with her husband. So he agrees, cause he's a pushover.
Be careful what kind of leaders you're producing here.
That night, he's working at the school library when one of the rich assholes, George Willis, needs a book that he's not allowed to take. So George stays until closing and talks Charlie into letting him take it, and they walk out together. And that's when they see George's friends tying something to a light pole.
What business is that of yours?
Then, the headmaster's secretary shows up, and they distract her long enough that she can't see who is there, but she does see 3 people running away with a ladder. She asks them what's going on, but they just act dumb, so she fucks off.
She didn't look around to see what they were doing?
No, but considering she was there first thing in the morning and is just now about to go home after the campus library's closed for the day, her old ass is probably too tired to give a shit.
I'm too old. I'm too tired. I'm too fucking blind.
The next morning, the headmaster parks under the light post and a big ass balloon blows up while George's friends make an announcement. And since Trask is embarrassed about the cartoon on the balloon, he pops it with his keys and gets himself and his brand new car all covered in paint.
It's customary for the lord of the manor to offer drippings to the poor.
Then this genius decides to interrogate both witnesses together when he should be pretty fucking sure that at least one of the vandals was George's friend Trent.
Why?
Because when he was given the new car, Trent fake kissed his ass and complimented him. And he even called out his bullshit to his face.
You are a cover-up artist and you are a liar.
But when neither one of them is willing to rat out a fellow student in front of the other one, he decides to double down and tell them that they'll be interrogated in front of the whole school on Monday, adding that if he can't expel the kids who actually ruined his car, he'll expel them instead.
How does Mr. Trask make such wonderful deals?
Then he sends George on his way and bribes Charlie with a Harvard scholarship.
How is he even sure that they saw them do it?
Well, the old bat got a decent look as they ran away, and since they were right next to her and aren't old as fuck, they should have seen everything. And she's even more sure of it now that she knows that they would have been right under a light.
That really was most illuminating.
So George ambushes Charlie after and tells him not to panic and that he'll talk to him over the weekend when he and the 3 guys who did it come up with a plan.
Ooh, how convenient.
Charlie goes back to Frank, where as soon as his family leaves, tells Charlie that they're going on a trip. Charlie doesn't want to go, but Frank just keeps ordering him around until he finds himself at the airport.
How did that happen?
Then at the airport, he's all, I can't go, but still finds himself sitting in first class on a trip to New York City, listening to an old blind bastard talk about how much he loves fucking.
He loves to talk dirty.
So after he's finished, Charlie tells Frank that he's gonna have to go back that night, and Frank's like, okay.
Then why would he take him in the first place?
Oh, he pulled a sneaky and lied about sending him back, and that he needs Charlie to take him around New York City for a few days, which he tells him at dinner that night.
I lied.
They have a nice meal at a fancy restaurant, where Charlie thinks that Frank must be loaded. Not because of the first-class flight, and not because of the room at the Waldorf Astoria, or the limo they hired for the weekend, but because this restaurant has a $24 hamburger.
This is too much.
And after that shock subsides, he tells Frank about being in trouble at school, and then Frank tells him about their plans for the weekend.
Oh, big things may happen to that little thing of yours. I touch you. What are you, some kind of chicken shit? Sticks to job description only?
And also, that once he's done everything on that list, he's gonna off himself.
I promise you an easy $300.
The next morning, Charlie wakes up to Frank getting a suit tailored, and it seems that Frank isn't as strict as he pretends to be because he told Charlie that he had to be up and his shit cleared by 7 a.m. But the tailor has clearly been there for a while, and it's really bright out.
His bark is worse than his bite.
Then Charlie gets up and wants to call George, and he does so on the landline sitting in the middle of the room.
He told me the phone was on the other side of the room, didn't he?
George tells him not to worry, which doesn't seem to be working, and since Frank overheard all this, he tells Charlie that he thinks George is going to run to his daddy, who will then convince George to rat out his friends. He also says that Charlie better rat him out too if he wants to have any chance at staying in his snooty private school. But Charlie insists that they're not going to involve their parents, so everything's fine.
Face it, you're screwed.
They then go to Frank's brother's house for Thanksgiving, where he immediately makes everyone miserable within seconds of arriving. Charlie tries to get help from Frank's family, but he's too subtle, and they don't give a shit.
The man grows on you.
You can see why he didn't receive a warm welcome when he starts recalling his former sexcapades in vivid detail at the dinner table. Then his nephew Randy tells Charlie how Frank blinded himself by drunkenly juggling grenades while on duty. Then, even though Frank can't remember Randy's wife's name, when Randy has the audacity to fuck up Charlie's name, Frank puts him in a chokehold and threatens to break his windpipe. So now the chances of Charlie getting any help from them is pretty much out the window.
Family reunion, yay!
The next morning, Charlie gets up to see Frank playing with his gun. So Charlie goes to call Frank's niece, but Frank eats the paper with her number on it.
That sounds good.
And when Charlie goes to leave, Frank negotiates with him to get him to take him around today. And while he does, Frank tries to convince him to take the bribe and rat the rich kids out. But Charlie doesn't want to, even though he doesn't even like these kids. But Frank ends up having a really great day, where he gets a shave, tangos with some random chick at a restaurant, and then the limo driver gets him an appointment with a high-class hooker.
I'd love a blowjob.
And Charlie and the driver watch him go in completely in awe as if they're jealous of him banging a hooker.
No, I'm just getting warmed up.
But while he's up there, Charlie calls George again and finds out he's going crying to his daddy, just like Frank said he would.
I'm just trying to bring up speed, kid.
In the morning, Charlie goes into Frank's room to find him wallowing in bed with his neck at a really awkward angle. He tells Frank that George's dad is going to fix the problem, and Frank calls it out as bullshit, but not with his normal enthusiasm.
This is such a crock of shit.
He tells Charlie to take his money so he can go shoot himself. So Charlie tries to talk him into getting up, and he finally does, with the idea of test driving a Ferrari. But they don't want to let Charlie take it because he's 17 with a blind chaperone. So Frank bribes the salesman with a couple grand instead of just taking the offer to drive with the salesman. Then Charlie takes out the $100,000 car on the streets of New York without properly knowing how to drive a stick.
Too much responsibility.
He drives like a granny, and Frank isn't happy. So Charlie's like, hey, why don't you drive?
That's a terrible idea.
Which is the only kind of idea we have left.
And for some reason is surprised when the suicidal crazy man hits the gas. And even dumber, he stupidly guides him into taking 2 turns at 70 miles an hour.
That's called courage.
But luckily, they're in the part of New York that doesn't have any other cars on the road.
So what are you doing here in this sparrow fart town?
Except for one cop car that pulls him over for speeding.
Well, I guess he's not going to be able to kill himself in jail.
Oh, no, he lets him off.
What?
Yeah, Frank tucks his way out of it. And also, the cop doesn't notice that he's blind.
Are you blind? Are you blind?
But as soon as he gets out of the car, he's depressed again. So when they get back to the busy part of the city, Frank walks out into traffic and tries to piss in public. But when he pulls it out, he falls on his ass and most likely pisses all over himself.
Somebody peed my pants.
So Charlie gets him back to the hotel, where Frank sends him out to get some cigars. But as he leaves, he gets a bad feeling and goes back up to see that Frank changed into his uniform, ready to kill himself. Charlie's all, but you promised, since he thought that he had all of Frank's bullets. And since Frank thinks he's so pathetically naive, he points the gun at him.
You panicking?
Yeah, a little.
He says that Charlie's life is as good as over because he's gonna rat on the other kids, like he told him to do, so he might as well just kill him now.
How would his life be over for telling the truth?
Well, it could happen in a bunch of different ways. One, he gets the education, but the rich guy club makes it so he can't get any good jobs. Two, the headmaster could just not follow through with his promise into getting him into Harvard, and it could all be for nothing.
I welched. I'm a welcher.
But Frank's talking about the third possibility, that Charlie sells out his personal morals to get ahead. See, he told Frank that he didn't want to be a snitch, because what do we know about snitches?
They get stitches.
That is true!
Or sometimes wind up in ditches.
That is also true!
So he figures that if Charlie's gonna be a snitch, his life won't be worth shit anymore, and he might as well die.
Boy, you have a one-track mind.
But Charlie tries to get him to give him the gun again, and he's like, "Aw, you're so cute. You want to be my son?"
What?
Yeah, Charlie pretty much has the same reaction. So Frank tells him that whatever he does, he's gonna kill himself, so Charlie should just go so he doesn't have to watch.
There are two kinds of people in this world. Those who stand up and face the music, and those who run for cover. Cover is better.
But Charlie won't go, so he tries it anyway. But Charlie fights him for the gun, but ends up with it pointed at him.
He couldn't get a gun from a blind old guy?
Well, he's a really tough, trained blind old guy. But yes. So he threatens to kill Charlie, and he's like, okay. But he says it with such a Mickey Mouse voice that Frank's not buying it.
Do it!
Then Charlie throws Frank's advice back at him.
When in doubt, fuck. Are you listening to me, son? I'm giving you pearls here.
And tells him that he doesn't really want to die. And he's like, kinda, and puts the gun down. But it turns out the only reason he hasn't killed himself before this is because he was hoping to one day have a girlfriend.
One of Pacino's love slave.
I don't know why you can't have that.
So when they get back to New Hampshire, Charlie goes in front of the assembly where the headmaster gives a rousing speech about how awesome the school is. But Frank comes in during his presentation, which pisses him off because everybody's wondering who the fuck is going up on stage instead of being properly inspired.
Bunch of runny-nosed snots in tweed jackets, all studying to be George Bush.
But he reluctantly approves of Frank being Charlie's guardian for this hearing because he can't think of a good reason to kick a war veteran off his stage in front of everybody.
He's an asshole.
He asks George who did it, and he rats out his friends, but claims he couldn't see for sure because he didn't have his contacts in. Then he throws Charlie under the bus.
Why don't you ask Charlie? I really think he was closer.
It's us against them no matter what.
Charlie also says he can't say who it was, and is threatened with expulsion, but he still won't give names. So Trask calls him a liar, which pisses Frank off enough to speak up. So he gives an eloquent speech about ethics and hypocrisy.
Fuck you too!
And this has the whole school celebrating. It even gets the disciplinary committee, which is led by the secretary who called them out as witnesses, who also should have recused herself for being a witness herself, to agree that the Vandals get probation, George gets nothing for snitching, and Charlie shouldn't be in trouble at all. And then everybody clapped.
Nothing could shut him up, son.
After, one of Charlie's teachers wants to talk to Frank, and he hits on her, but because she teaches political science, she's likely to talk to him again. So maybe he'll get a girlfriend after all.
You will die alone.
And then he goes home and is actually nice to his family.
So did Charlie get into Harvard?
Well, we don't find out, but with how butthurt Trask looked after Frank ripped him a new one in front of literally anyone who should have respected his position, I doubt it.
I'm not quite through with you yet.
Haven't you heard? There's only 2 syllables in this whole wide world worth hearing.
Subscribe.
No, I haven't heard.
Well then, take the fucking wax out of your ears!
I will give you one last chance. The consequences of your response will be dire.
Are you ready? ASAP. That means now. A simple yes will do. It's gonna make you proud one day, I promise you. Go on. Dismissed. Dismissed.